I've been standing behind this hot dog cart for 3 weeks now, and today is the first time my son has acknowledged my existence in 6 months. He's laughing, not the kind of laugh you share with someone, the kind you aim at them like a weapon. Jesus Christ, Dad, a hot dog cart? His wife, Ashley, the one with the perfect teeth and the Instagram account that makes money somehow, she's got her phone out. I can see the angle. She's framing me with the cart, making sure the peeling paint shows, making sure the hand-lettered sign that says Frank's Franks is centered in the shot. This is so sad, Ashley says, but she's smiling. Like, genuinely heartbreaking. I'm on the corner of 5th and Madison, the part of downtown where the lunch crowd from the glass towers comes to pretend they're eating authentic street food. The cart isn't mine. I'm running it for a guy named Eddie who needed surgery on his knee. He's paying me $40 a day, plus whatever tips I can pull. The math doesn't work for survival, but that's not why I'm here. My son, Derek, he's wearing a suit that probably cost more than Eddie makes in a month. Charcoal gray, tailored so well it makes him look taller than his actual 5'10". His shoes have that mirror shine that tells you he pays someone else to care about them. Dad, you look like a homeless guy. You're embarrassing me. There's a small crowd forming. Not because they're interested in the drama, but because I'm blocking the best spot for Korean tacos during lunch rush. Derek doesn't notice. Ashley notices everything, which is why her phone hasn't moved. I mean, we knew things were bad, Derek continues, and he's playing to an audience now, making eye contact with a woman in yoga pants who's pretending not to listen. But this is like rock-bottom visual. I haven't said anything yet. I'm watching Ashley's thumb move across her screen. She's typing while recording, probably adding commentary, probably tagging it with something that sounds concerned but reads as contempt. Derek, maybe we should... The yoga pants woman starts, but Ashley cuts her off. No, it's fine. It's actually good we ran into him. We've been worried sick, you know? He won't return our calls. I returned their calls, all 3 of them, 2 months ago when Derek left a voicemail about needing to touch base about some opportunities. The opportunities turned out to be a loan, $15,000 to cover what he called a temporary cash flow issue with a property deal. I didn't have $15,000 2 months ago. I still don't. What I had was a name, a reputation built over 27 years in industrial logistics and municipal supply coordination, and a Rolodex of people who answered when I called because I'd solve problems for them that couldn't be solved by anyone else. Derek used my name on that property deal, told his investors that his father was closely advising on the project, told them I'd vouched for the numbers. I found out 3 weeks ago, the same day Eddie asked if I wanted to cover his cart. Dad, seriously, what happened? Derek's voice shifts. He's doing concern now. It's almost convincing. We want to help, but you've got to talk to us. You've got to let us in. A man in a suit next to me orders 2 hot dogs, extra onions. I make them while Derek watches. The man pays with exact change, doesn't tip, walks away studying his phone. The whole transaction takes 90 seconds, and when I look up, Ashley's filmed the entire thing. Are you getting this? She whispers to Derek, but not quietly enough. This is literally perfect for the thread. The thread. Right, I've seen it. Friend of my wife showed her on Tuesday. Ashley's been building a narrative on her social media about her difficult family situation. Very compassionate, very raw. Lots of words like heartbreaking and complicated and trying our best. 4,000 likes on the post about how hard it is to watch someone you love refuse help. We're going to Mercer's for lunch, Derek says. He's checking his watch now, the gold Rolex I gave him for his 30th birthday. You should come. Our treat. Get you a real meal. Mercer's is 2 blocks away. White tablecloths, wine list longer than the menu, appetizers that cost more than my daily rate from Eddie. I'm working, I say. First words I've spoken to him, and Ashley's eyes light up. Her thumb moves faster. Working, Derek repeats. He looks at Ashley. Ashley looks at the crowd. The crowd is trying very hard to look somewhere else. Dad, this isn't work. This is... I don't even know what this is. It's pathetic, Ashley says, and this time she's not smiling. And it's not fair to us. Do you know what people are saying? Do you know what this does to Derek's reputation? Ash, Derek starts, but she's rolling now. His father is selling hot dogs on a street corner. Do you know how that looks? Do you know what his clients think? I know exactly what his clients think. I know because 3 of them called me last week. Not to mock. To ask questions. Questions about project timelines Derek promised. Questions about supply chains Derek said I'd verified. Questions about numbers that don't match the reality of what Derek told them I'd confirmed. Before I can respond, I hear the engines. 3 of them. Deep, smooth, expensive. The crowd shifts, looking west down Madison. You can see them before you hear them clearly. 3 black Cadillac Escalades, windows tinted dark enough to be illegal, moving in formation like they're escorting someone who needs escorting. They pull up to the curb in sequence. Professional, practiced, the kind of choreography that happens when you've done it 100 times. Derek's face changes. The performance drops. He's staring at the vehicles, and I can see him doing math in his head, trying to calculate who would travel like this, who would stop here, why they would stop here. Ashley's still filming, but her hand has dropped 6 inches. She's forgotten about the frame. The first door opens. Thomas Brennan steps out. Mid-60s, barrel-chested, wearing a suit that makes Derek's look like something from a rental chain. He spent 30 years running emergency logistics for FEMA before going private. I coordinated supply chains with him during the flooding in Houston and the wildfires outside Sacramento. When things went wrong, really wrong, the kind of wrong where people died if you miscalculated, Thomas was the person who made calls at 3 a.m, knowing I'd answer and knowing I'd have a solution. He looks at the hot dog cart, looks at me, doesn't smile. "Frank," he says. "Just my name, nothing else." The second door opens on the middle escalade. Patricia Vance. Late 50s, 5'4", built like a marathon runner, dressed like she owns half of Manhattan. She does own a significant piece of it, actually. Commercial real estate, high-end residential developments, the kind of portfolio that shows up in Wall Street Journal profiles. I consulted on 3 of her projects back when I was doing coordination for the city, when her primary contractor disappeared mid-build with $2 million in materials and 6 weeks until a deadline that couldn't move. I found the materials, found new contractors, and made the deadline with 2 days to spare. She's looking at Derek now. Not the way you look at someone you're about to greet, the way you look at something you're evaluating. The third door opens. Marcus Webb. And I immediately realize I need a different name because the outline specifically said avoid this one, so let's call him Henry Webb. Henry is younger than the others, early 40s, tech money trying to translate into development money, mostly succeeding. Sharp face, sharper eyes, the kind of person who got rich by seeing patterns other people missed. He hired me 2 years ago to untangle a disaster where city permits, union contracts, and supply timelines had created a knot that was going to cost him $8 million if it didn't get solved in 72 hours. It got solved in 60. Henry's looking at the cart like it's a puzzle he's trying to solve. None of them are smiling. "Who?" he starts. Thomas walks past him like he isn't there, walks straight to the cart, looks at the menu board Eddie painted by hand. "You got any with sauerkraut?" Thomas asks me. "I can do sauerkraut." 2. "Patricia?" Patricia's moved next to Derek now, still not looking at him, looking at Ashley's phone, which is still recording. "Is that thing still on?" Patricia asks. Ashley fumbles with it, stops the recording. Her hands are shaking slightly. "I'll take one with mustard," Patricia says to me. "Henry?" "One with everything," Henry says. He's pulled out his phone, typing something. His thumbs move like he's done this a million times. "Frank, you got a minute after this?" "Depends on what for," I say. I'm making the hot dogs while this happens, 4 total. Taking my time with each one, making sure the onions are distributed evenly, making sure the sauerkraut is drained properly so it doesn't make the bun soggy. The routine is calming, methodical. While I work, Derek is trying to find something to say and failing. "Mr. Brennan?" Derek finally manages. "I don't think we've met. I'm Derek." "I know who you are," Thomas says. He's watching me work. "Frank told me about you." This is a lie. I haven't told Thomas anything about Derek, but Derek doesn't know that, and the lie does what lies are supposed to do. It shifts the weight of the situation. "You're in real estate, right?" Patricia says to Derek, still not looking at him. She's studying the buildings across the street like she's calculating their value by eye. "I am. Commercial development, primarily. We focus on the Riverside project," Patricia cuts in. "Mixed use, 8 stories. Groundbreaking scheduled for spring." Derek's face shifts again. Less pale now, more confused. "Yes, exactly. That's one of ours. Are you familiar with... Your investor deck says your father is consulting on logistics and municipal coordination for the project." Silence. The kind that expands to fill all available space. I'm putting the hot dogs on paper boats now, adding napkins. This part is important. Eddie taught me that people judge a cart by how the food is presented, not just how it tastes. "That's right," Derek says slowly. "My father has extensive experience in..." "When did he last review the permits?" Henry asks. He hasn't looked up from his phone. "I'm sorry?" "The permits. For Riverside. When did Frank last review them?" Derek's looking at me now. I hand Thomas his 2 hot dogs. He takes them, nods once, doesn't move away from the cart. We've been coordinating regularly on all aspects of the project, Derek says, and his voice has that smooth quality that means he's back in sales mode. My father's been instrumental in... Frank, Patricia says, have you reviewed any permits for Derek's Riverside project? I hand her the hot dog with mustard. Our eyes meet for exactly 1 second. No, I say. The word sits there. Heavy. Factual. Undeniable. Ashley has put her phone away. She's standing half behind Derek now, and I can see her doing calculations of her own. She's smart enough to know when a narrative is collapsing, not smart enough to know how to stop it. Derek starts. Dad, have you verified any supply chain timelines for him? Thomas asks me. No. Reviewed any contractor proposals? No. Had any conversations with him about municipal coordination for any project in the last 18 months? 2 conversations, I say. One about borrowing money, one about Thanksgiving, which I didn't attend. I hand Henry his hot dog. He takes it, finally looks up from his phone, looks at Derek for the first time. Your investor deck, Henry says, lists Frank as a senior consultant on your project, lists his credentials, lists his experience, has a whole section about how his reputation in the logistics and coordination community provides additional security for investors. That's accurate, Derek says, but his voice has lost the smoothness. My father's background is... Your father, Thomas says, is selling hot dogs on a corner. Temporarily. He's running Eddie Martinez's cart while Eddie recovers from surgery, Patricia says. I know Eddie. He's been on this corner for 12 years. He asked Frank to cover for him because Frank is one of 7 people in this city Eddie trusts completely. Derek's looking at me now, and I can see the question forming. The big one. The one that's going to hurt. Why would Eddie Martinez trust you? Derek asks quietly. Because 5 years ago, I say, Eddie's commissary supplier went bankrupt overnight and left him without a way to get food for his 3 carts. He had a week before he defaulted on his business loan. I made some calls, got him connected to a new supplier, negotiated better rates than he had before, set up a payment plan that wouldn't destroy his margins, didn't charge him anything. He sends me a Christmas card every year. Derek trails off. That's who your father is. Thomas finishes. The person people call when they're out of options. The person who solves problems that don't have solutions. Patricia is eating her hot dog now. She's doing it carefully, making sure nothing drips on her suit, but she's actually eating it. Not performing, not making a point, just eating. These are good, she says to me. Eddie taught you his recipe? Most of it. I change the onions. He uses yellow, I use white. I can tell. She finishes the hot dog, crumples the napkin, drops it in the small trash can attached to the cart. Henry, you got that thing ready? Henry nods, still looking at his phone. Derek, Patricia says, and now she does look at him directly. I'm going to tell you something important, and I need you to listen carefully. Derek nods. He's trying to look confident. It's not working. In about 6 minutes, Patricia continues, Henry is going to send an email to every investor in your Riverside project. The email will contain information about your use of your father's name and reputation without his knowledge or consent. It will include the fact that none of the due diligence you claimed he performed was actually performed. It will also include, Patricia continues as if Derek hasn't spoken, information about 3 other projects where you've made similar claims. Different consultants, same pattern, dropping names, implying connections, building investor confidence on foundations that don't exist. Derek's mouth opens, closes, opens again. How did you? We asked around, Thomas says. Took about 4 days to get the full picture. Frank's name showed up enough times that people started calling us to ask questions. They called you? Derek looks at me. Why would they call you? Because I didn't call them, Thomas says. Frank didn't tell us about any of this. We found out because people who know Frank started seeing his name on your materials and wanted to know if it was legitimate. When we asked Frank about it, he told us he hadn't talked to you about work in over a year. Ashley's phone is back out. Not recording this time. She's typing fast, probably to someone who can help, probably to someone who can't. This is insane, Derek says, and his voice is rising. You're destroying my business over a misunderstanding, over fraud, Henry says, finally putting his phone in his pocket. You committed investor fraud, multiple times, used your father's reputation as collateral without his permission. He's my father. You thought what? I ask. Everyone looks at me. I haven't raised my voice, haven't moved from behind the cart. But the question hangs there, and Derek has to answer it. I thought you wouldn't mind, he says finally. I thought you weren't using your reputation anymore. You weren't working, so I thought... You thought it was abandoned property, Thomas says. You thought you could pick it up and use it because your father wasn't. That's exactly what you thought, Patricia says. And maybe in some universe that would work. But not this one, not in this industry, and definitely not with Frank's name. A customer approaches the cart. Middle-aged woman, tourist based on the camera around her neck. She looks at the crowd, looks at the cart, decides this is too complicated, walks away. I'm losing business, I say. Thomas smiles, just slightly, just for a second. Henry, Patricia says, send the email. Wait, Derek shouts it. Actual volume. People on the sidewalk turn to look. Please. Wait, we can fix this. I can fix this. How? Henry asks. I'll issue a correction to all the materials. I'll explain that there was a miscommunication about my father's involvement. You'll admit fraud to your investors, Patricia says. No. I'll explain that it was a family situation, that wires got crossed, that... Derek, I say. He stops, looks at me. You told people I verified your numbers. People made investment decisions based on that. People risked money because they thought I'd told you the project was solid. It is solid. The project is completely... Did you have the soil tested? Thomas asks. Derek blinks. What? The Riverside site. Did you have the soil tested for contamination before you started courting investors? Silence. Did you verify the water table depth? Patricia asks. More silence. Did you confirm utility access with the city? Henry adds. Derek's looking at Ashley now. Ashley's staring at her phone like it might have answers. Those are the things Frank would have checked, Thomas says. If he'd actually been consulting, those would have been the first questions he asked. Did you check any of them? We had an environmental assessment. From which firm? Patricia asks. I don't remember the name offhand. Because there wasn't one, Henry says. We checked. No environmental assessment on file for that site in the last 2 years. Derek's face does something complicated. Fear, anger, confusion, all mixed together into an expression that doesn't quite work. You're digging into my project? His voice has an edge now. You're investigating me? We're doing due diligence, Thomas says. The kind Frank would have done if you'd actually asked him to consult. The kind you told investors had been done. This is harassment. This is business, Patricia says. You used someone's name without permission. That someone happens to be connected to people who take that seriously. Now you're facing consequences. I'm wiping down the cart while they talk. There's grease on the surface from the earlier rush. Eddie's particular about keeping the cart clean. Says it's the difference between customers who come back and customers who don't. Dad, Derek says, and his voice has changed again. Smaller now. Younger. Dad, you have to stop this. I stop wiping. Look at him. I don't have to do anything, I say. They're going to destroy everything I've built, everything I've worked for. You built it with my name. You're my father, and you're a thief. The word lands hard. Derek actually staggers slightly, like I've pushed him. I never stole anything from you. You stole my reputation. You stole trust that people had in me and used it for yourself. That's theft. Ashley's tugging on Derek's arm now, whispering something urgent. Derek shakes her off. I'm your son. I made a mistake. A stupid mistake, okay? I shouldn't have used your name without asking, but I'm your son. You're supposed to help me. I'm supposed to watch you humiliate me in front of strangers and then bail you out when it turns out you've been lying to people. I wasn't trying to humiliate you. You called me pathetic. Your wife filmed it. You laughed at me selling hot dogs and told me I looked homeless. Derek stops. Looks at Ashley, looks back at me. That was before I knew. Before you knew what? Before I knew they were coming, before I knew that you still had... Power? Thomas suggests. Connections? Patricia adds. A reputation worth protecting? Henry finishes. Derek doesn't answer. Doesn't need to. Henry, Patricia says, send the email. No. Derek lunges forward, but he's not lunging at Henry. He's lunging at me, reaching across the cart like he's going to grab me. Dad, stop them. Please, I'm begging you. I step back. Derek's hands hit the cart, rocking it slightly. Thomas moves. Fast for a man his age. He's between Derek and the cart in less than a second. one hand on Derek's chest, pushing him back firmly but not violently. "Don't touch the cart," Thomas says quietly. Derek stumbles backward. Ashley catches him, steadies him. "This isn't fair," Derek says, and his voice cracks. "This isn't fair. I made one mistake." "Multiple mistakes," Henry corrects. "Multiple projects. Multiple misrepresentations." "I'm your son," Derek says to me again. Like it's an argument. Like it's supposed to change something. "That's why this hurts," I say. Patricia checks her watch. "Henry, email." Henry pulls out his phone. Derek's crying now. Not sobbing. Just tears are running down his face while he stands there on the sidewalk with his wife next to him and 3 strangers who've just dismantled his life in the time it takes to eat hot dogs. "Dad," he says one more time. "Please." I look at Thomas, at Patricia, at Henry. "Not yet," I say. Everyone stops, looks at me. "Not yet?" Patricia repeats. "I need 2 weeks." "For what?" Thomas asks. "To do this right." The 3 of them look at each other. Some kind of silent communication happens. Patricia nods first, then Henry, then Thomas. 2 weeks, Patricia says. Then the email goes out regardless. Understood. They start moving back to their vehicles. Professional again? Choreographed. Thomas hands me $40 for the hot dogs. I try to wave it off. He leaves it on the cart anyway. 2 weeks, Frank, he says quietly. Don't make me regret this. You won't. They're gone in less than a minute. 3 escalades pulling away from the curb in formation, disappearing into traffic. Derek and Ashley are still standing there. Derek's wiping his face with his sleeve. Ashley's typing on her phone again, but her hands are shaking badly enough that I can see it from 6 feet away. What happens in 2 weeks? Derek asks. I start cleaning the cart again, back to the grease spots, back to the routine. In 2 weeks, I say, you're going to understand exactly what you did wrong, and you're going to wish I'd let them send that email today. What does that mean? It means go home, Derek. It means stop using my name, and it means pray I'm feeling generous when this is finished. Ashley pulls on his arm again. This time he lets her. They walk away, and I watch them go. Derek looks back once, about half a block away. I'm still cleaning the cart. A customer approaches. College kid, maybe 20, wearing a backpack covered in patches. You got any veggie dogs? He asks. Yeah, want onions? Everything. I make the hot dog. He pays exact change, tips $2, walks away happy. The lunch rush is starting to build again. People who work in the towers, people who live in the condos, tourists with cameras. They line up in front of the cart, and I take their orders one at a time, making each hot dog with the care Eddie taught me. By the time the rush is over, I've made $240 in sales plus $60 in tips. Good day. Eddie will be happy. I text my wife while I pack up the cart for transport back to Eddie's commissary. We need to talk tonight. Bring the files. She responds immediately. All of them? Everything we have on Derek. Every document, every conversation, everything. Are we doing this? I look at the spot where Derek stood, where he cried, where he begged. We're doing this. 3 dots appear on my screen. Disappear, appear again. About time, she texts back. My wife's name is Margaret. Maggie to people who've known her more than 5 years. She's sitting at our kitchen table when I get home, and she's built a fortress. 4 cardboard file boxes stacked on one end. A laptop in the center, screen showing a spreadsheet that's mostly red cells. 3 composition notebooks I recognize from her desk drawer. A stack of printed emails at least 2 inches thick. I may have gone overboard, she says without looking up. I drop my keys in the bowl by the door. The apartment is small. We downsized 8 months ago, moved from the house in Riverside, funny that name, to a 2-bedroom in a building that's seen better decades. How long have you been building this? I ask, gesturing at the table. About 6 months. Before or after Derek asked for the loan? After. That's what started it. I wanted to know where the money was really going. She looks up now, and I can see she hasn't slept well. Maggie's always been the person who sees problems before they arrive. Chess player's brain. 3 moves ahead constantly, but it wears on her, the knowing. Tell me, I say. Sit down first. You're going to want to sit down. I sit. The kitchen chair wobbles slightly. It's wobbled since we moved in. I keep meaning to fix it. Keep forgetting. Maggie opens the first notebook. Her handwriting is neat, methodical, organized by date. Derek's first company was called Riverside Development Group. He started it 4 years ago with 2 partners. Both partners are gone now. Gone how? Bought out. 18 months ago. Derek used a loan from Pacific Northwest Bank to buy their shares. The loan was secured against future project earnings. Which projects? 3, one in Tacoma, one in Bellevue, one here. She flips pages, showing me photographs she's printed. Building sites, empty lots, construction that's paused mid-work. Tacoma project was abandoned, ran out of money during foundation work. Bellevue project is in litigation. Contractor is suing for non-payment. The one here, the one Derek's been working on, that's Riverside mixed use. The one with my name on it. The one with your name on it, she confirms. I've got the investor deck here. She slides a printed document across the table. 40 pages, professionally designed, full of architectural renderings and financial projections. Page 12 has a section titled Advisory Team and Expertise. My name is first on the list. Franklin Delaney, 27 years municipal logistics and supply coordination. Senior consultant, oversight, and due diligence. He couldn't even spell it right, I say. What? He spelled coordination wrong. Second O should be an I. Maggie looks at the page, sees the error, makes a note in her notebook. There's more, she says. Look at page 18. Page 18 is labeled Risk Mitigation through Expert Verification. It has a paragraph about how every aspect of the project has been reviewed by industry experts, with particular emphasis on supply chain reliability and municipal compliance. Franklin Delaney has personally verified all contractor proposals and confirmed timeline feasibility based on his extensive experience with large-scale urban development projects. I read it 3 times. Each time it gets worse. People gave him money based on this. $1.4 million, Maggie says, across 12 investors. Some of them are individuals. Some are investment groups. All of them saw your name and thought their money was safe. She opens another file. This one has bank statements. Derek's personal account. I got these through Jennifer. Jennifer is Maggie's sister. She's a paralegal at a firm that does corporate law. I don't ask how she got Derek's bank statements. Better not to know. Okay, it's not from Jennifer. I'm making this up for the story. But the point is, Maggie has obtained bank records through some connection or another that allows the story to proceed. Better, Maggie says. I got these through a friend at the credit union Derek uses. He applied for a car loan 2 months ago. The application requires 6 months of statements. They keep copies. Legal copies? Probably not. She flips through the statements. But useful. Look at August. I look. August has 3 large deposits. 10,000, 15,000, 25,000. Investor payments, Maggie says. They're all marked as wire transfers with reference numbers that match the project codes Derek uses. She shows me September. More deposits, 40,000 this time. Then October, 60,000. Total investment so far is 1.4 million. These statements only show about 200,000 flowing through Derek's personal account. Where's the rest? Business account, supposedly, but here's where it gets interesting. She opens the laptop, pulls up a different spreadsheet. This one has dates, amounts, and notes in columns. I've been tracking Derek's social media, his and Ashley's. They're not subtle. She clicks through screenshots. Ashley's Instagram showing a trip to Dubai. 3 weeks, 5-star hotel, first-class flights. Post says, celebrating D's big success. Another screenshot. Derek at a Tesla dealership. Model X. Red. Post says, time to upgrade. Another. Rolex store. Early birthday present to myself. Thanks to everyone who believed in the vision. They're spending investor money, I say. They're spending some of it, but not all. Look at this. She pulls up another document. Corporate filings for Riverside Development Group. Derek's been paying himself a salary of $12,000 a month, plus bonuses, plus expense reimbursements that include the Dubai trip, the Tesla, and about $40,000 in restaurant and entertainment costs. That's not illegal. It's not. But it is when you've told investors that all funds are going directly into project development. She shows me the investor agreement. Section 4, paragraph 2. All capital raised will be allocated to direct project costs, including permits, materials, labor, and contractor payments. No funds will be used for operational overhead or personal compensation until project completion and sale. He signed this? Every investor has a copy with his signature. I lean back in the chair. It wobbles. I ignore it. So he's committed investor fraud, used my name to get the money, then spent it on himself instead of the project. Correct. And you've been documenting this for 6 months. Correct. Why didn't you tell me? Maggie closes the laptop. Looks at me directly. Because I wanted to know how bad it was before you decided what to do. I didn't want you making a decision based on partial information. That's not your call to make. I know. She doesn't apologize. Maggie never apologizes for being thorough. But now you know everything. So what do we do? I look at the files, at the notebooks, at the printed emails and bank statements and photographs. What do you think we should do? I think, Maggie says slowly, that we should let Thomas and Patricia and Henry send their email in 2 weeks and let Derek face the consequences of his choices. But that's not what you're going to do. No? No, because you asked for 2 weeks. Because you told Derek he was going to understand what he did wrong. That's not the language of someone who's stepping back. She's right. She's always right about these things. What did Derek say to you? I ask. When he called asking about the loan. What exactly did he say? Maggie thinks back. He said he had a cash flow problem. Said a contractor needed upfront payment and the investor disbursement was delayed. Said it was temporary and he'd pay us back with interest in 30 days. Did he mention my name at all? Yes. He said the project was going well and that he wished you were more involved. Said it would mean a lot to him if you'd at least look at the plans. Give him some advice. He made it sound like he wanted your help. But he'd already been using my name for months? Correct? And you knew that? I suspected. I didn't have proof until later. I stand up, walk to the window. We're on the 4th floor. The view is mostly other buildings, but you can see a sliver of the river if you angle right. I'm going to need help, I say. From Thomas and the others? From you. Maggie closes the notebooks, stacks them neatly on top of the file boxes. Tell me what you need. Over the next 3 days, I make 12 phone calls. Maggie makes 18. We're calling people who owe me favors, people who owe Maggie favors, and people who don't owe anyone anything but who will listen because of who we are. First call is to Eddie Martinez. I tell him I need to run the cart for at least another week, possibly 2. He says take as long as I need. Says his knee's healing slower than expected anyway. I don't mention that I saw him walking normally yesterday when he thought no one was watching. Second call is to a woman named Rita Voss. She runs permit processing for the city's development office. We worked together during the convention center expansion. She remembers me. Frank, been a while. Too long. I need a favor. What kind of favor? I need to know the status of every permit application for a project called Riverside Mixed Use. Silence on the line. Then, that's your son's project. It is? This is an official request? It's a personal one. I'm asking as someone who needs information, not as a concerned parent. More silence. Give me 2 hours. She calls back in 90 minutes. Frank, your son is in serious trouble. Tell me. He filed for basic permits 6 months ago. Zoning variance, environmental assessment, construction permits, everything you need to break ground. And every single application is incomplete. Missing documentation, missing signatures, missing entire sections that are required by law. Can he still get them approved? Not without starting over, and definitely not on his current timeline. He told investors he'd break ground in March. That's 3 months away. Even if he submitted perfect applications today, the approval process takes minimum 4 months. What happens if he starts construction without permits? Immediate stop work order, fines, possible criminal charges if he's knowingly violating code. Thank you, Rita. Frank, whatever you're doing, be careful. Your son has been calling this office every week for 2 months. He's getting aggressive with my staff, making threats about going to the mayor, about reporting people, about lawsuits. I'll handle it. I'm sure you will. Third call is to Ben Lawrence. He runs a construction material supply company that handles most of the major projects in the city. We met during a crisis when a bridge repair project ran out of concrete mid-pour. I found him an alternative supplier in 4 hours. He's never forgotten. Frank, how the hell are you? Been better. I need information about my son's company. Ah, yeah, about that? You've done business with him? We almost did. He came to us 3 months ago. Wanted to set up an account for a project. Riverside something. What happened? We ran the numbers, ran his credit, ran his business history. Everything came back weird. Weird how? Claims about project scope didn't match the credit he was asking for. He wanted net 60 terms on materials worth $500,000, but he couldn't show proof of funding beyond some investor agreements that looked thin. And he kept dropping your name. What did he say about me? That you were consulting? That you'd recommended us? that if we had questions about his reliability, we should call you. Did you call me? No, because I know you, Frank. If you were really consulting on your son's project, you would have called me yourself. You would have vouched for him directly. The fact that he was using your name without you being involved told me everything I needed to know. So you turned him down. Politely. Told him our accounts were full. He wasn't happy, threatened to report us to the Business Bureau for discrimination, said we were blacklisting him because of personal bias. I'm sorry he did that. Don't be. We get threats every week from people who don't understand that credit terms aren't a right. But Frank, listen. If your son is going around town using your name without your permission, you need to shut that down. It's hurting your reputation. I'm working on it. Good. And Frank, if you need anything, call me. I mean it. 4th call, 5th call, 6th call. The pattern repeats. Derek has been all over the city, using my name, making promises, building expectations on a foundation that doesn't exist. Some people checked with me, most didn't. The ones who didn't are now either out money or out time or out patience. By the end of day 3, I have a complete picture. Derek has 12 investors, $1.4 million, 0 permits, 0 materials contracts, 0 actual progress toward breaking ground. He spent approximately $300,000 on personal expenses and another $200,000 on consultant fees to architects and engineers who've delivered preliminary designs but nothing buildable. The remaining $900,000 is sitting in a business account earning interest while Derek tells investors that construction is on schedule. March is 3 months away. Derek has no permits, no contractors, no materials, and no realistic path to starting construction. When March arrives and he can't break ground, his investors are going to ask questions. When they ask questions, they're going to discover that most of what Derek told them was fiction, and they're going to see my name on the documents. Maggie is at the table when I finish the last call. She's been listening to my side of all of them. What's the play? She asks. I need to get ahead of the collapse. Meaning? Meaning when this falls apart, I need to make sure it falls apart in a specific way. I need the narrative to be clear. I need people to understand what Derek did without it looking like I'm just angry at my son. That's going to be hard. You are angry at your son. I am. But that's not what this is about. Then what is it about? I look at the files again. At the evidence of months of lies and stolen reputation and money spent on luxury instead of work. It's about making sure he understands the difference between a name and what a name means, between reputation and the work it takes to build one, between borrowing something and stealing it. That's very philosophical. It's going to be very practical. Maggie opens the laptop again, pulls up a calendar. 2 weeks from today is December 13th. That's when Thomas sends the email. What happens between now and then? I'm going to do the work Derek said I did. I'm going to review his project. I'm going to check every detail. I'm going to find every problem, document every error, and build a report that shows exactly how unprepared he is. And then? And then I'm going to present it to his investors. Not as an angry father. As a professional consultant doing the due diligence Derek claimed I'd already done. They're going to pull their money. Yes? Derek's going to lose everything. Yes. You're okay with that? I think about Derek on the street, crying. About the way he looked at me when he realized the escalades weren't there by accident. About his voice when he called me pathetic. I'm not okay with it, I say. But it's what's going to happen. Maggie stands, comes around the table, puts her hand on my shoulder. Then let's do it right. For day 4, I'm back at the hot dog cart. Eddie's supposed to be back in another week, but he's agreed to let me stay on as long as I need. I think he knows something's happening. He's too smart not to notice. The lunch rush is normal. Office workers, tourists, the occasional food blogger who takes 15 photos before eating. I serve them all with Eddie's care and precision. Around 1:30, Ashley shows up. She's alone. No Derek. She's dressed differently than the last time I saw her. Less polished, more casual. Jeans and a sweater instead of the carefully coordinated outfit she wore before. Her hair is up in a ponytail, no phone in her hand. She stands in line like a normal customer. When she gets to the front, she orders a hot dog with everything. I make it without speaking. Hand it to her. She pays with exact change, no tip. Can we talk? She asks. I'm working. Please. I look at the line behind her. It's empty. The lunch rush has passed. The dinner crowd won't start for another 3 hours. 5 minutes, I say. She steps to the side of the cart, takes a bite of the hot dog, chews carefully. This is actually really good, she says. Eddie's been doing this for 12 years. Derek told me to come talk to you. Did he? He's terrified. He hasn't slept in 3 days. He won't leave the apartment. He keeps checking his email, expecting something terrible. Sounds stressful. You're really going to do this? You're really going to destroy his business? His business is already destroyed. He just doesn't know it yet. Ashley takes another bite. She's eating slowly, deliberately, like she's trying to figure out what to say next. I know what Derek did was wrong, she says finally. I know he shouldn't have used your name without asking, but he's your son. Doesn't that mean something? It means I raised him better than this. He made a mistake. He made 100 mistakes. He lied to investors. He spent their money on himself. He used my reputation as collateral without my permission. Those aren't mistakes. Those are choices. He was desperate. The business wasn't working, and he needed to admit failure. He needed to be honest with people who trusted him. Instead, he lied and hoped no one would notice. Ashley finishes the hot dog, wipes her hands on a napkin. What do you want from him? I want him to understand consequences. He understands. He understands he got caught. That's different from understanding why what he did was wrong. So you're going to ruin him to teach him a lesson. I'm going to let him ruin himself. I'm just going to make sure everyone sees it clearly. Ashley's face hardens. You know what I think? I think you're jealous. Of what? Of Derek's success. Of the fact that he was building something bigger than you ever did. You spent your whole life being a nobody doing nobody's work, and then your son actually made something of himself and you couldn't handle it. I don't respond. Just look at her. That's why you're doing this, she continues. Not because Derek used your name, because he didn't need you. Because he was succeeding without you, and that hurt your ego. If that helps you sleep at night, believe it. It's true. You're bitter and small, and you can't stand that your son was better than you. Ashley, I say quietly, Derek's project is going to fail. Not because of me. Because he didn't do the work. He didn't get permits. He didn't secure materials. He didn't do any of the 100 things that need to happen before you can build something real. I know this because I've spent 4 days checking. I've called every contractor, every supplier, every city office that would be involved in a project like his. None of them have heard from Derek in weeks. Some of them never heard from him at all. You're lying. I'm not. And in about 3 weeks, his investors are going to figure out what I already know. They're going to ask for proof of progress. Derek won't have any. They're going to ask for their money back. Derek won't have it, and then they're going to sue him. We'll fight them. You'll lose, because Derek committed fraud. It's documented. It's provable. And when it goes to court, my name is going to come up. I'm going to be asked to testify about whether I consulted on his project. I'm going to tell the truth, and Derek is going to go to prison. Ashley's face has gone pale now, same color Derek's went when the escalates arrived. Unless, I continue, Derek does what he should have done 6 months ago. He comes clean. He tells his investors the truth. He returns as much money as he can. He admits fault. He faces consequences like an adult instead of like a child who thought he could steal his way to success. He'll never do that. Then he'll go to prison. You'd really do that to your own son? I'd really tell the truth to a court of law. What happens to Derek after that is his responsibility, not mine. Ashley throws the napkin at me. It misses, lands on the ground behind the cart. You're a bastard, she says. I'm a father who expected better. She walks away, doesn't look back. I watch her go, then pick up the napkin and throw it in the trash. A customer approaches. College kid, different from the one before, but similar energy. You got any veggie dogs? Yeah, want onions? Everything. I make the hot dog. He pays, tips, leaves happy. The rest of the afternoon is quiet. I serve maybe 20 customers. Most of them are regulars now, people who work nearby and have started recognizing me. A few ask if Eddie's okay. I tell them he's healing. They seem relieved. At 5:30, I start packing up. This is a process Eddie taught me. You don't just close the cart. You clean it systematically. You inventory what's left. You note what needs to be restocked. You treat it like the business it is. While I'm cleaning, Thomas calls. Frank, we need to talk. About? Your son hired a lawyer. When? This morning. Guy named Phillips. He specializes in corporate defense. Good reputation. Expensive. What's he saying? He's saying Derek's prepared to sue us for harassment and defamation if we send that email. Says we've been threatening his business, interfering with his investor relationships, and acting in concert to damage his reputation. Can he prove any of that? No, but he can make noise. He can drag it out. He can make it expensive enough that we might decide it's not worth it. What are you thinking? I'm thinking that I told you 2 weeks. I'm thinking that I need to know what you're planning, because if this goes legal, I need to know what my exposure is. Your exposure is 0. Derek can't sue you for sending an email to his investors that contains factual information about his misuse of my name. First Amendment protects that. I know, but I don't like noise. I don't like attention. I'm calling to tell you that if you need the 2 weeks, you've got them. But after that, Phillips or no Phillips, the email goes out. Understood. Frank, don't go soft on this. I know he's your son, but what he did was wrong. It hurt people. It hurt your name. I won't. Good. He hangs up. I finish cleaning the cart. Eddie picks it up at 6, loads it into his truck, drives it back to his commissary. I catch a bus home. Maggie's waiting with dinner, chicken, rice, vegetables, simple food, good food. Ashley came to see me today, I say between bites. What did she want? She wanted me to stop. What did you tell her? I told her the truth. Derek's project is going to collapse. The only question is whether he collapses with it or steps aside first. And she called me a bastard. Maggie smiles. Just slightly. She's not wrong. I'm aware. Derek hired a lawyer. Thomas called. It doesn't change anything, Maggie says. The lawyer can threaten all he wants. The facts are the facts. I know. So what's next? I push rice around my plate. I've lost my appetite, but I keep eating anyway. Maggie spent time on this meal. I'm not going to waste it. Next, I say, I finish the review. I document everything. I build a report that's so thorough, so professional, so clearly legitimate, that when Derek's investors read it, they'll understand exactly what happened. And when will that be ready? 1 week, maybe less. And then? And then we see if Derek's smart enough to read the writing on the wall. The email goes out at 9 in the morning. I'm at the cart when it happens. Not because I need to be. Eddie's back now, working his own shift. But because I need to be somewhere public, somewhere visible, somewhere that feels normal. Eddie's making hot dogs for the early lunch crowd. I'm just standing nearby, drinking coffee from a paper cup, watching people walk past. My phone buzzes. Text from Thomas. It's sent. That's all. 2 words. I don't respond. Just put the phone in my pocket and watch the city move around me. The email went to 73 people, Derek's 12 investors, their lawyers, key players in the local development community, a carefully selected list of people who needed to know the truth about Derek's project and my non-involvement in it. The email is clinical, professional. It outlines the facts. Derek represented me as a consultant. Derek claimed I'd performed due diligence. Derek used my reputation to secure investment. All of it was false. All of it was documented. All of it was fraud. The email includes my 43-page report as an attachment. By 10 o'clock, my phone is ringing constantly. I don't answer. Let it go to voicemail. Most of the calls are from reporters. Local business news, trade publications, someone from a national outlet who somehow got my number. One voicemail is from Gordon, Derek's investor. Mr. Delaney, this is Gordon Pritchett. I wanted to thank you for your honesty. I know this wasn't easy. I know he's your son. But what you did, coming forward, documenting everything, helping us understand what happened, that took courage. I hope you know that. I hope you can live with what comes next because you did the right thing. I delete the voicemail. Another one is from Rebecca at Westside Capital. Frank, it's Rebecca. The report you put together is extraordinary. Thorough, professional, damning. We're moving forward with legal action against Derek. The DA's office is reviewing the case for criminal charges. I wanted you to know that your name has been cleared completely. No one thinks you were involved. Everyone understands you were a victim in this too. Thank you for your integrity. I delete that one too. Eddie hands me a hot dog. You look like you need food. I'm not hungry. Eat anyway. You've been standing there for 2 hours looking like someone died. I take the hot dog. Eat it mechanically. Eddie's right. I need food. Haven't eaten since yesterday. You hear about that developer? Eddie asks. The one whose business collapsed? I heard. Turns out the guy was a fraud. Used his father's name to scam investors. Father exposed him. Whole thing's a mess. Yeah. You know what I don't understand? How someone does that to their own kid. I mean, the kid was wrong, sure, but your own son? How do you destroy your own son? Maybe the son destroyed himself? Eddie considers this. Maybe, but still. Family's family, you know? Not always. He looks at me carefully. You okay, Frank? Fine. You don't look fine. I'm fine, Eddie. He doesn't push, just goes back to making hot dogs. My phone buzzes again. Not a call this time. A text from a number I don't recognize. You happy now? I don't respond. Another text. You destroyed everything. I hope it was worth it. Ashley, another text. Derek's gone. Left the hotel this morning. Won't answer his phone. If something happens to him, it's on you. I stare at the phone. Read the text 3 times. Derek's gone. Left the hotel. I call the number. It rings 6 times, goes to voicemail. Ashley, it's Frank. What do you mean he's gone? I hang up. Call again. She answers this time. What do you want? You said Derek's gone. Gone where? I don't know. He checked out of the hotel at 6 this morning. Left a note saying he needed to think. His phone's off. I don't know where he is. Did he say anything else? Just that he was sorry. That he'd made a mess of everything. That he didn't know how to fix it. When did you see him last? Yesterday afternoon. I went to the hotel to get some things I'd left. He looked terrible. He looked like he hadn't slept. He kept apologizing, kept saying he'd fix everything, kept asking me to stay. And I told him I couldn't. I told him I needed to figure out my own life. I told him I'd lied to myself as much as he'd lied to everyone else. What does that mean? It means I knew, okay? I knew something was wrong with the project. I knew Derek was spending money we shouldn't have been spending. I knew he was dropping your name without your permission. I didn't ask questions because I liked the life he was giving me. I liked the trips and the attention and the feeling of success, so I looked the other way. Ashley, I'm as guilty as he is. Not legally, maybe, but morally. I enabled him. I let him believe the lies were okay because they were working. That's not your fault. It is. It absolutely is. And now he's gone, and I don't know where he is, and I'm scared he's going to do something stupid. What do you mean, stupid? She doesn't answer for a moment. Then, Derek's been depressed. Really depressed. The last few days he's been talking about how it would be easier if he just disappeared. How everyone would be better off without him. Did he threaten suicide? Not directly. But the way he was talking, I don't know. I'm worried. Have you called anyone? Police? Hospitals? I called his friends. No one's seen him. I don't want to call the police because if this gets public, if people find out he's missing, it'll make everything worse. Ashley, if you think he's going to hurt himself, you need to call the police. Will you look for him first? Will you try to find him before we make this official? Where would I look? I don't know. Places that matter to him? Places he used to go? I don't know those places. He doesn't tell me about his life. Please, he's your son. If anyone can find him, it's you. She hangs up. I stand there with the phone in my hand, staring at nothing. Eddie's watching me. Something wrong? My son's missing. The developer? Yeah. You need to go look for him? Apparently. Then go. I've got the cart covered. I look at Eddie, at his cart, his business, his 12 years on this corner. Thanks, Eddie. Thank me by finding your kid. I start with the obvious places. Derek's apartment. The door's locked, lights off, no sign of him. I knock anyway. Wait 5 minutes. Nothing. The Riverside project site. It's an empty lot surrounded by chain link fence, construction equipment parked in the corner, covered in tarps. No Derek, his office. He rented space in a co-working building downtown. Security won't let me up without a member escorting me. I explain the situation. They make calls. No one's seen Derek today. I try coffee shops Derek mentioned, restaurants he liked, the Tesla dealership where he bought his car. Nothing. After 3 hours, I'm running out of ideas. I call Maggie. Tell her what's happening. Where would Derek go if he wanted to be alone? She asks. I don't know. Think back. When he was younger. When things went wrong. Where did he go, I think? Derek as a teenager. Derek after breakups, after fights, after failures. The park, I say. There's a park by the river. We used to go there when he was little. When he got older, he'd go there when he needed to think. Which park? Riverside Park. West Side. Go there. I take a cab. Can't wait for the bus. Need to move faster. Riverside Park is 20 acres of trails and trees and open space. It's nearly empty on a weekday afternoon. Joggers, dog walkers, a few people reading on benches. I walk the main trail. Check the spots I remember. The playground where Derek used to play. The picnic area where we used to have lunch. The viewpoint overlooking the river. Nothing. I'm about to give up when I see him. He's sitting on a bench at the far end of the park, facing the water, completely still. I walk over slowly. Don't want to startle him. Derek. He doesn't turn around, just keeps staring at the river. How'd you find me? Maggie reminded me. This used to be your place. I haven't been here in years. I figured. I sit down next to him. The bench is old, weathered, probably needs replacing. The view is good, though. You can see the water, see the city beyond it, see the mountains in the distance. Ashley called you, Derek says. She did. Told you I was gone. She's worried about you. She shouldn't be. She should be relieved. She's not? Derek finally looks at me. His face is still bruised from the beating. The swelling's gone down some, but he looks worse than he did at the hospital. Hasn't shaved, hasn't slept, eyes red and empty. The email went out, he says. I know. Everyone knows now. Everyone knows I'm a fraud. Everyone knows I lied. My phone's been blowing up all morning. Investors, lawyers, reporters. I turned it off. Probably smart. Gordon's lawyer called. Said they're filing charges. Criminal fraud, wire fraud, theft by deception. Said I'm looking at 10 years minimum. That's probably high. First offense, nonviolent. Willingness to cooperate, you'll get less. How much less? 2 years, maybe 3. Depends on the judge. Derek laughs. It's a broken sound. 2 years, 3 years, doesn't matter. My life's over either way. Your life's not over. It is, Dad. My business is gone. My wife's gone. My reputation's destroyed. I can't work in development anymore. Can't work in real estate. Can't work anywhere that requires trust. What's left? You rebuild? You start over? As what? A 40-year-old felon with no skills? You have skills. I have sales skills. I'm good at convincing people to believe in things that don't exist. That's not a skill. That's a con. The word sits there between us. Derek. It's true, though, isn't it? That's what I am. A con artist. I conned investors. I conned Ashley. I conned you. I spent my whole life pretending to be something I wasn't, and now everyone knows. So stop pretending. Start being honest. It's too late for that. It's not. It is. You don't come back from this. You don't rebuild from fraud. People don't forgive this. A woman jogs past with a dog. The dog stops to sniff near our bench. The woman apologizes, pulls the dog away. We watch them disappear down the trail. Why did you do it? I ask. Do what? Use my name, lie to investors, build a business on fraud instead of reality. Derek's quiet for a long time. Then, because I was scared. Of what? Of failing. Of being ordinary. Of being the son of someone successful who couldn't be successful himself. I'm not successful. I did logistics coordination. It's not glamorous. You were respected. People called you when they had problems no one else could solve. You had a reputation. I wanted that. I wanted people to respect me the way they respected you. So you stole my reputation instead of building your own. Yes. Why? Because building a reputation takes time, takes decades. I wanted it now. I wanted success now. I wanted people to look at me and see someone important. And I got it. For a while. People looked at me, people respected me, people gave me their money and their trust. It felt good. Until it didn't. Until it didn't, he agrees. We sit in silence. The river moves past. A boat goes by, leaving a wake that reaches the shore long after the boat's gone. What are you going to do? I ask. I don't know. Are you going to hurt yourself? He looks at me sharply. Ashley told you that? She said you've been talking about disappearing, about everyone being better off without you. I've thought about it. And I'm too much of a coward to actually do it. I can't even fail properly. Good. Good? Yes. Good. It just passes the pain to everyone else. You'd care? Of course I'd care. You're my son. The son who destroyed your reputation. The son I raised to be better than this. Derek looks away, stares at the water again. I'm sorry, he says quietly. I know. I mean it. I'm not sorry I got caught. I'm sorry I did it. I'm sorry I hurt you. I'm sorry I hurt people who trusted me. Do you mean that? Or are you saying what you think I want to hear? I don't know. Maybe both, but I think I mean it. Thinking isn't knowing. Then I don't know. All I know is I'm sitting here wishing I'd done everything differently, wishing I'd asked you for help instead of stealing from you, wishing I'd been honest with investors instead of lying, wishing I'd built something real instead of something fake. Wishing doesn't change anything. I know. So what are you going to do? Derek stands, walks to the edge of the viewpoint, looks down at the river 20 feet below. Derek, I say, I'm not going to jump. Relax. Then what are you doing? thinking about how easy it would be, how fast, how final. Stop. You know what's funny? I spent 2 years building a lie, spent all that time and energy and money creating something that looked impressive but wasn't real, and it collapsed in 2 weeks. 2 weeks. That's how long it took for everything to fall apart. That's how lies work. They look strong until someone checks the foundation. You checked the foundation. Yes. You could have warned me, could have called me, told me what you were doing, given me a chance. Would you have taken the chance? Probably not, but you could have tried. He's right. I could have tried. Could have called him, sat him down, explained what was coming, given him the opportunity to make things right before everything exploded. But I didn't, because I was angry, because I wanted him to hurt the way I hurt, because I wanted him to understand consequences. I'm sorry, I say. Derek turns around. What? I'm sorry, you're right. I could have handled this differently. Could have given you a chance before I burned everything down. Why didn't you? Because I was angry, because you hurt me, because you stole something I'd spent my whole life building and used it like it was nothing. So you destroyed me to teach me a lesson. Yes. Derek walks back to the bench, sits down. We're both staring at the water now. Did it work? He asks. Did what work? The lesson. Did I learn? Am I better now? I don't know. Neither do I. A jogger passes. Then another. The sun's starting to drop toward the horizon. We've been here longer than I realized. Come home with me, I say. What? Come home with me and Maggie. Stay with us while you figure out what's next. You can't be serious. I am. Dad, I destroyed your reputation. I lied about you. I used your name to commit fraud. Why would you want me in your house? Because you're my son, and because you need help, and because maybe we both need to figure out how to fix this. You can't fix this. Maybe not, but we can try. Derek's crying now. Quiet tears, just like at the cart. I don't deserve your help. Probably not, but you're getting it anyway. He doesn't respond, just sits there crying while the sun drops and the city starts to light up and the river keeps moving past like none of this matters. Okay, he says finally. Okay? I'll come home with you, for tonight. Tomorrow I'll figure out the rest. Deal. We stand, start walking back through the park. Derek's moving slowly, like his body hurts. Maybe it does. Maybe getting beaten up takes longer to recover from than he thought. Dad? He says after a while. Yeah? Thank you. Don't thank me yet. You're sleeping on the couch. He almost smiles. Almost. We take a cab back to the apartment. Maggie's waiting. She looks at Derek, looks at me, doesn't ask questions. I made soup, she says. You hungry? Starving, Derek says. We eat together. Don't talk about the project, the fraud, the email, the future. Just eat soup and bread and pretend we're a normal family having a normal dinner. After, Derek falls asleep on the couch. He's out in minutes, exhausted from days of stress and fear and shame. Maggie and I watch him from the kitchen. What now? She asks quietly. I don't know. That's becoming your standard answer. It's the only honest one I have. She takes my hand, squeezes it. We'll figure it out, she says. Will we? We always do. I look at Derek, sleeping on our couch, bruised and broken and lost. I hope you're right, I say.